everyone. So in my last week's video, I asked you guys if you wanted me to make weekly Korean learning videos where I'll be sharing the knowledge that I've acquired so far and just kind of learning along with you guys, because I'm also a student. I'm nowhere near being fluent or like being comfortable with the language, so I have a huge way to go. And your response was amazing. All of you were so supportive. You guys totally wanted me to do it. And please actually don't take anything I say in this video as if it's written in stone. Please, if you are a native Korean speaker and you stumbled upon this video, or you're a teacher or a tutor and you hear me saying something wrong or like messing up my facts or whatever, please feel free, absolutely free, to correct me and help other people to understand something that I try to explain in a more correct way. But try to stay polite and refrain from negativity of any sort toward me or toward any other people, because that's just gonna make people unwilling to read your comment, because no one really wants to read nasty stuff, right? So please make your comments as objective and, positive as possible, and then I'm sure we're gonna have an awesome learning environment in the comment section, and yay, everyone's gonna benefit. As I said, I'm not a teacher. I'm just sharing the ways I learn Korean as a foreigner in hopes that other foreigners may understand it a little better, because it's really difficult to wrap your head around a language that's completely out of your linguistic zone. Yeah, is that even a term? Oh well. I will be taking a closer look at the Korean alphabet and the letters in it, and some of the letters that may be a little bit confusing for foreigners to pronounce because they have multiple different pronunciations depending on where these letters are in the word or in the syllable even. So earlier today I made an Instagram post when I was making this guy. It's so delicious. And I actually just got a text from my boyfriend saying how he saw my Instagram post and he's mad at me because I never make these noodles for him. Sorry, baby. I actually didn't make these noodles just to eat them. I made them for a video, so please forgive me. But yeah, I made this Korean ramen noodles for a reason, because the word ramen in Korean actually starts with a letter that I would want to address today in this video. I would actually never probably make these noodles for myself because Korean noodles are way too spicy for me, but I got these specific noodles from fan mail that I got a while back and I made a video about, which you guys should totally check out. Yeah, I'm gonna be eating it today, as I will be trying to explain the pronunciation of the il letter in Korean, which the word ramen in Korean starts with, and that's exactly what I have here with me. Okay, I'll go for the first bite and then I will go into explaining the pronunciation. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is not as spicy as I thought it would be. So, first of all, the letter ul is an interesting letter in Korean because Asian languages have always been known to have a different approach to letters like L and R. And in Japanese, for example, they don't even have a distinction between L and R. They just have kind of an in-between sound, which for some foreigners may be difficult to understand. But in Korean, it is a little bit easier because there is one letter, and it can, in some cases, be pronounced as an L, like l. Nothing too hard for foreigners, for us to pronounce, or it can be pronounced as a d sound, which is kind of like an R sound, which is not as strong as Russian or Spanish r, but also not as soft as the English r, because there's just like no tongue movement whatsoever. So it is a little bit of an in-between sound that sounds something like d, d, d. And it is produced by putting the tip of your tongue right here, behind your front teeth, but not necessarily on your teeth, and kind of bouncing your tongue up against the top of your mouth. Duh, 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 duh. I know it's kind of hard to show you because, well, my mouth is kind of closed, almost closed, but think of it as a D sound that doesn't have a d to it, but more of a d. Start off with a d sound, going like d d d d d there you go, you got the R sound. Something like this. Experiment, really. Sit down and make these noises, and don't be embarrassed because, well, I just did that in front of all of you. And try to find that sound for yourself. So yeah, going back to what I was talking about, in Korean, dur can be pronounced either as an L or an R. And there are specific cases which, if you know them, you will be, able to pronounce them whenever. So the patterns go like this. The first pattern is when at the beginning of a word, and so it is at the beginning of a syllable and at the beginning of the word, it is pronounced as an L, like ramen or radio, which is ramen and radio in Korean. Also, it is pronounced as an L where it is at the end of the word. For example, 아들 or 삼겹살, or the indicative particles like or 르. In pretty much all the other cases, it is pronounced as an 르, where basically if it's in the middle of the word and if it is surrounded by two vowels on both ends. For example, 어려워요, which is difficult, or 오랜만이에요, which is it's been a long time, or 어리다, which is to be young, I think. As you can hear, letter 르 is pronounced as 르 sound. It's not an L sound. It's not 어려워요. It's 어려워요. 어려워요. And because it is enclosed between the sound O and yo, two vowels, it is pronounced as a R sound. To sum this all up, there's a word that actually has two R's, and both of them are pronounced differently, and there are a lot of those words in Korean, obviously, but this is like one of the very common ones, which is 일요일, which is, if I'm not mistaken, is Sunday. So 일요일 has 를 in the first syllable and in the last syllable, and in the first it is pronounced as 르, 일요일, because it is between the sound I and 요. And then at the end, 일요일, it is pronounced as an L because it is at the end of the sentence. So yeah, hopefully that helped in any way. Any of you, I totally forgot to eat some ramen. Oh, sorry, ramen. Even though I told you I will torture myself a little bit with the spiciness, but it didn't end up being too spicy, so I'm pretty happy about that. But just to signify the ending of our lesson today. Ooh, ha! That was a little bit more spicy. Yeah, I decided to take a bite just kind of as a happy ending to our lesson. If you guys have any more questions, oh, totally forgot. There's a bonus pattern that occurs with the letter 르. It is sometimes when it is between a vowel and a consonant, for example, in the word 닭, which means chicken, and it is written D-A-L-G, basically, if you're using romanization, but don't. So yeah, and it is pronounced 닭, like for example in the word 닭살, which also has a 르 sound at the end, so it is pronounced as an L. And 닭살 means like goosebumps. And the first time I encountered that word was in a phrase, 닭살 커플, which basically means a couple that gives you goosebumps, which means a really PDA kind of couple. I don't know where I heard that phrase, but it kind of really stuck with me because it was such a clever way of expressing, the meaning of couples that publicly display their affection, really, and it does give you a little bit of goosebumps. You're just like, So yeah, 닭살, 닭, it has an L in it, but it's not really being pronounced. However, in some cases, like 읽어요, 읽다, it is pronounced, and it is pronounced as an L. So I'm not entirely sure on that one, but let me just go with saying that there's a pattern where if the letter 르 is between a vowel and a consonant, it is going to be pronounced as an L, or it is not going to be pronounced at all, or going to be really subtle. Help me out here, native speakers and Korean teachers and tutors, please, because I am not entirely sure, but in case I am correct, that would be great. If in case I'm not, you will be able to correct me, and that's going to be for everyone's benefit. So yeah, I am done for today. I'm gonna go now and finish this majestic bowl of noodles. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please leave any questions you have about learning Korean in the comment section, and I will pick one question for the next week's video and I will answer it at the end of my video, in addition to all the other stuff I will be talking about. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know how I did, if this video ended up being what you expected, or if I totally failed and I really shouldn't do this anymore. Yeah, please keep me notified about how I'm doing. Alright? Okay? Deal? Yay! Alright, I hope you guys all have a wonderful upcoming weekend. Enjoy your learning, and I will see you all next week. Bye! Wow.